And a final question, we'll go right there in the back.
Hi, Rinaldi, CBS News. Thank you for being here.
Hi.
Can you shed any light on conversations you might have had with President Trump about Greenland, and would NATO be willing to give up Greenland to President Trump?
Well, here the President and I discussed very thoroughly the whole issue in Davos. And first of all, I share his view that there is a big risk that the Russians and the Chinese will become even more involved in the Arctic. Of course, the Arctic is at the moment 8 countries, 7 are part of NATO, 1 Russia not. And then there is China, which is a sort of honorary 9th Arctic country, because they are more and more involved there through Russia. So I think the President is right that we have to defend ourselves. So what we agreed in Davos is, one, that when it comes to the Arctic, NATO has to play a role here. And under General Klinkovich's leadership, we started Arctic Sentry, which is bringing together 5 of the NATO countries in the Arctic, plus, of course, all the other allies, and making sure that the Arctic stays safe, working closely with Canada and the US through Norad, through NORSCOM, and this whole endeavor started late January and will help us to defend the Arctic, including Greenland, from this Russian and Chinese influence. So that is one part. The other part, of course, is that Denmark, Greenland and the US continue their bilateral, trilateral talks, focusing on, one, what happens if Greenland would in the future maybe, yes, no, change its constitutional position within the Kingdom of Denmark. Would agreements then still be valid? I think a fair question to ask and to answer and to get an answer to. I think that's solvable. And secondly, how to prevent, when it comes to the Greenland economy, Russia and China getting access. So those conversations are ongoing.
Mr. Secretary General, as we wind down our conversation today, I want to close by finishing a quote that Dave began in his introductory remarks. It's from President Reagan at from the 1988 address that he gave to the citizens of Western Europe. He began, as Dave said, "The Atlantic Alliance is the core of America's foreign policy and America's own security." But he went on, "Preservation of a peaceful, free, and democratic Europe is essential to the preservation of a free, peaceful, and democratic United States. If our fellow democracies are not secure, we cannot be secure. That is not simply a matter of treaty language. As important as treaty language is, it is an enduring reality. As enduring," President Reagan said, "as the reality that a threat to the security of the state of Maine or New York or California is a threat to the security of all 50 American states." And then he said this, simply put, "An attack on Munich is the same as an attack on Chicago." That's how President Reagan saw the NATO alliance. Mr. Secretary General, thank you for your work to preserve that alliance, and thank you for being with us here today.
Thank you.